What if I told you that the life you're living right now is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts you've allowed to dominate your mind? Change your thoughts, and you don't just change your mood, you change your destiny. Every success story begins in the mind. Thoughts are the architects of your future, shaping what you attract, who you become, and the results you create. The key to transforming your life isn't outside, it's within. In this video, I'll share with you how mastering your thoughts will unlock power, purpose, and prosperity. The mind is always at work. It never stops planting, it never stops producing, and it never stops shaping your experiences. The question you must ask yourself is not whether your mind is planting, but what it is planting. You are either the conscious gardener of your mental landscape, deliberately selecting the seeds of thought that you wish to see blossom, or you are a passive observer, letting anything, other people's opinions, social media noise, the negativity of the world, fall into your soil. And like any soil, it does not discriminate. It will grow weeds as easily as it grows roses. That is why guarding the gateway of your mind is not optional. It is essential for anyone who desires growth, success, and peace of mind. Think about it: the wealthiest individuals, the strongest leaders, the happiest souls did not get there by accident. They did not stumble into success without first mastering their inner garden. They became gatekeepers of their own thoughts. They understood that every moment is an opportunity to either strengthen their vision or to weaken it. They knew that thoughts of lack would create conditions of lack, while thoughts of abundance would draw more abundance. They understood that every setback could be interpreted as a seed of opportunity, and they chose to water the seed of growth rather than the seed of despair. You must make the same choice. In every challenge, there are two seeds: the seed of defeat and the seed of resilience. Which one will you water? Guarding your mind does not mean living in denial or pretending that challenges don't exist. Life will test you, storms will come, and negativity will try to creep in. Guarding your mind means developing the strength to control your inner responses despite the outer circumstances. It means being the gatekeeper who decides what enters and what does not. When fear knocks at the door, you don't allow it in to take root. When doubt whispers that you are not enough, you replace it with affirmations of strength and worthiness. When negativity tries to overwhelm you, you redirect your attention to gratitude, to possibility, to solutions. This practice, repeated daily, transforms your mental soil into a rich environment where success, joy, and abundance can flourish. Think of the mind like a fortress. A fortress without guards will soon be invaded. A fortress with weak guards will easily fall. But a fortress with strong, alert, and disciplined guardians will withstand any attack. In the same way, your mind must be guarded with intention. Be cautious about what you read, what you watch, what you listen to, and most importantly, who you surround yourself with. Every piece of information, every conversation, every image you expose yourself to is a potential seed. Some seeds inspire, empower, and uplift. Others corrupt, weaken, and destroy. If you do not control the flow will control you. That is why discipline is the highest form of self-love. By protecting your mental space, you are ensuring that only the seeds that serve your growth can take root. One of the greatest mistakes people make is thinking that negative thoughts are harmless. They are not. They are like weeds, at first small and insignificant, but if left unattended, they spread quickly, choking the life out of your positive intentions. A small doubt, if repeated daily, can grow into a crippling belief that paralyzes your progress. A single fear, if allowed to echo in your mind, can become a prison that keeps you from taking action. A seed of envy, if not uprooted, can turn into bitterness that blinds you to your own blessings. The longer weeds are left unattended, the harder they are to remove. That is why awareness is the first step in guarding the gateway of your mind. You must notice what is being planted, consciously uproot what does not serve you, and deliberately replant empowering thoughts. On the other hand, positive thoughts like seeds of courage, gratitude, and ambition require nurturing. Just because you planted a seed of gratitude today does not mean it will bloom tomorrow. It must be watered daily. Gratitude must be practiced consistently, not just when things are going well, but especially when challenges arise. Courage must be exercised by stepping outside of your comfort zone, again and again, until it becomes second nature. Ambition must be fueled by vision and action, by setting goals and pursuing them with relentless determination. These seeds, when cultivated daily, will transform into towering trees that bear fruit for a lifetime. They will provide shade during hard times, strength during storms, and nourishment when you need it most. Consider this: every great achievement in history began with a thought that was fiercely protected. The light bulb, the airplane, the internet, all were once fragile ideas planted in the minds of visionaries. These ideas could have been easily destroyed by doubt, criticism, or fear, but their creators guarded them like precious seeds. They chose to believe in their vision when no one else did. They chose to water the seed of possibility until it grew into a reality that changed the world. If you wish to achieve greatness in your own life, you must adopt the same mentality. Guard your dreams, protect your visions, and do not allow the weeds of negativity from others to take root in your soil. Your environment plays a powerful role in this process. Just as soil quality determines the growth of a plant, the environment you live in shapes the quality of your thoughts. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who challenge you to grow, who encourage you to plant seeds of courage and ambition. Limit your exposure to toxic voices, pessimistic attitudes, and environments that constantly drain your energy. This does not mean cutting off the world, but it does mean being selective. Remember, your mind is your most valuable asset, and every day you are either investing in it or depleting it. The conversations you engage in, the books you read, the content you consume, these are your fertilizers. Choose them wisely. Guarding the gateway of your mind also requires discipline and self-talk. What you repeatedly say to yourself is what you begin to believe. And what you believe shapes your actions, and your actions create your reality. If your inner dialogue is filled with phrases like, "I can't," "I'm not enough," or "I'll never succeed," those thoughts become self-fulfilling prophecies. But if your inner voice consistently says, "I am capable," "I am deserving," and "I will overcome," you are planting seeds of empowerment that will eventually blossom into results. Speak life into your goals. Speak abundance into your circumstances. Speak strength into your challenges. Words are seeds, and every word you repeat has the potential to shape your future. Ultimately, guarding the gateway of your mind is an act of responsibility. It is acknowledging that you are the sole architect of your destiny. No one else can control your thoughts unless you allow them to. No one else can decide what seeds will be planted unless you remain unconscious of your own choices. You have the power at this very moment to uproot the weeds, to plant new seeds, and to cultivate a mental garden that reflects the life you desire. This is not a one-time event, but a lifelong practice. Every day presents new seeds, new choices, new opportunities to guard or neglect your mental soil. And every day you choose to guard it, you are moving one step closer to the life you envision. Your mind is the command center of your destiny. It is not meant to drift aimlessly. It is meant to be directed with precision, clarity, and purpose. When you decide exactly what you want to focus on and where you want to steer your thoughts, you unlock a force that can move mountains. History proves this truth. Every invention, every fortune, every empire was built by individuals who learned to control their thoughts with laser-like focus. They did not simply react to life. They chose deliberately what to think, what to believe, and what to act upon. That choice became the foundation of their greatness. To direct your thoughts with intention, you must first understand that thoughts are not random. They are magnetic. Whatever you dwell on consistently will attract similar experiences into your life. If your mind is constantly consumed by fear, lack, and failure, you will find yourself encountering situations that mirror those fears. But if you fill your mental space with visions of success, gratitude, abundance, and confidence, you create a field of attraction that pulls opportunities, people, and resources into your orbit. This is not mystical, it is practical. Your thoughts influence your emotions influence your actions, and your actions shape your results. Therefore, directing your thoughts with intention is the first and most important step to directing your life. Consider the countless people who go through life saying, "I'll see what happens." This attitude is nothing more than surrendering the wheel of your ship to the winds of circumstance. It is passivity disguised as acceptance. Nothing great was ever achieved by drifting. Nothing extraordinary was ever created by waiting for conditions to improve. Those who achieve greatness are those who say, "This is where I am going, this is what I will think, and this is how I will act, no matter the storms that come." They decide, and then they direct every thought toward that decision until reality aligns. The human mind is like a lens. If the lens is unfocused, the light is scattered and nothing burns. But if the lens is directed with precision, that same light becomes powerful enough to ignite fire. So it is with your thoughts. Scattered thinking produces scattered results. Focused thinking produces extraordinary breakthroughs. The question is, will you allow the noise of the world to scatter your mind? Or will you discipline yourself to focus on what matters most? One of the most powerful practices for directing your thoughts with intention is visualization. Visualization is not wishful thinking. It is mental rehearsal. When you visualize your success vividly, you are training your subconscious mind to accept that vision as reality. Athletes use it before every competition. Entrepreneurs use it before every launch. Leaders use it before every major decision. They see themselves winning, and because they see it, they believe it. And because they believe it, they act with confidence and persistence until it becomes real. Visualization is your way of programming the inner compass of your mind, ensuring that even when distractions appear, you stay aligned with your destination. Another essential practice is the use of affirmations. Words have power. The language you speak to yourself determines the seeds you plant in your subconscious. When you repeat statements like, "I am capable," "I am focused," "I am attracting success," you are conditioning your mind to think in alignment with those truths. At first, your old doubts may resist. Your inner critic may mock you. But repetition is stronger than resistance. The more you affirm your direction, the more your subconscious begins to accept it. And once your subconscious accepts it, your actions naturally align with it. Directing your thoughts means choosing deliberately the words you allow to echo in your mind. Equally important is the discipline of focus. In the modern world, distraction is the greatest thief of destiny. Every notification, every piece of breaking news, every meaningless scroll on social media pulls your mind away from intentional thought. This constant bombardment scatters your energy, weakens your concentration, and leaves you drained. To direct your thoughts with intention, you must learn to guard your attention as fiercely as a treasure. Set boundaries for your mind. Limit your exposure to negative influences. Create spaces of silence where your thoughts can breathe. Spend time daily in meditation, journaling, or focused reflection to clear the clutter and realign with your vision. Your attention is your most valuable currency. Spend it only on what moves you closer to your dreams. The truth is, every person is directing their thoughts either by design or by default. If you do not choose where your thoughts will go, the world will choose for you. If you do not intentionally focus on abundance, society will feed you scarcity. If you do not deliberately cultivate gratitude, the news will drown you in fear. If you do not decide to believe in yourself, the opinions of others will decide for you. To live a life of intention, you must take back the steering wheel of your mind and refuse to let external forces dictate your internal compass. Consider how powerful your life becomes when you live with directed thought. Imagine waking up each morning and beginning your day with a vision of your goals, affirming your strength, and aligning your energy with your highest purpose. Imagine moving through the day not reacting to every disturbance, but consciously choosing your responses. Imagine ending the day reflecting not on what went wrong, but on the progress you made and the opportunities ahead. This kind of intentional living compounds over time, creating a momentum that no obstacle can stop. Think of Thomas Edison, who held more than 1,000 patents and revolutionized the world with the light bulb. Do you think he achieved this by drifting? No. He directed his thoughts with such persistence that even after thousands of failed attempts, he never saw failure, only feedback. He chose to interpret every setback as a lesson, every obstacle as an opportunity. His intention to bring light to the world was so strong that no amount of doubt could sway him. Or consider Henry Ford, who was told repeatedly that his vision of a car for the masses was unrealistic. Yet he directed his thoughts with such clarity and conviction that he eventually transformed the way the world moves. These men were not born with greater talents than you. They simply understood the power of intentional thought and refused to let their minds drift aimlessly. Directing your thoughts with intention also means learning to master your emotions. Thoughts and emotions are deeply connected. When you allow negative emotions to dominate, your thoughts will follow that downward spiral. But when you learn to elevate your emotional state through gratitude, through positive self-talk, through purposeful action, you can shift your thoughts upward. Every time you redirect your emotions, you redirect your thoughts. And every time you redirect your thoughts, you reshape your destiny. Perhaps the most powerful truth about directing your thoughts is this: it puts you in control of your future. Circumstances may not always be in your control, but your thoughts always are. You cannot control the weather, the economy, or the actions of others, but you can control how you think about them. And that control is the difference between victory and defeat. Two people can face the same challenge. One sees a dead end, the other sees an opportunity. The difference is not in the circumstance, but in the intention behind their thoughts. Directing your thoughts with intention is not something you do once and forget. It is a daily discipline, a lifelong practice. Every morning, you must decide again to steer your thoughts toward purpose. Every afternoon, you must redirect them when distractions arise. Every evening, you must reflect and realign. Like a sailor adjusting the sails, you must constantly adjust your thoughts to stay on course toward your vision. Over time, this discipline becomes habit, and habit becomes character, and character shapes destiny. Some people look at their circumstances and believe they are victims of fate or luck, but the reality is that they are living proof of the dominant thoughts they have entertained for years. Destiny is not some mysterious force outside of your control. Destiny is the sum of your thoughts, crystallized into habits, actions, and eventually results. When we look back at history, we see a clear pattern. The greatest minds, the most successful entrepreneurs, the boldest leaders, all began their journeys with a single thought that they refused to let go of. The Wright brothers thought of flying when the rest of the world laughed at the idea. Henry Ford thought of creating a car for the common man when everyone else believed automobiles were only for the wealthy. Thomas Edison thought of bringing light to the world when darkness was accepted as normal. What separated them from others was not wealth, not privilege, not even superior education, but the fact that they held on to their thoughts with persistence and turned them into reality. They understood the fundamental truth that thoughts are seeds, and if nourished with faith, action, and persistence, they will grow into reality. The mind is the workshop of destiny. Everything you see around you today, your phone, the chair you sit on, the building you live in, the job you hold, the money you earn, once existed as an idea in someone's mind. This should awaken you to the incredible power you hold. Because if someone else's thought created the life you are currently living, then your thoughts today are creating the life you will live tomorrow. The critical question is, what are you choosing to think? If your thoughts are dominated by fear of failure, doubt about your abilities, or resentment toward others, your destiny will reflect those patterns. But if your thoughts are dominated by vision, faith, courage, and gratitude, your destiny will elevate to match those vibrations. It is said that as a man thinketh, so is he. This is not a poetic phrase. It is a universal law. Your outer world is simply a reflection of your inner world. People spend so much energy trying to change their circumstances without ever addressing the root cause, their thought patterns. They switch jobs, change partners, move to new places, but eventually the same struggles follow them because the same thoughts are producing the same outcomes. Real transformation happens only when you change your inner dialogue. When you change the way you think about yourself, your abilities, your opportunities, and your future, your entire life begins to align with that shift. Think about money, for example. People who constantly think thoughts of lack, saying to themselves, "There's never enough money. I can't afford this," or "I'm always broke," inevitably find themselves in financial struggle. Their thoughts attract circumstances that confirm their beliefs. On the other hand, those who think thoughts of abundance, who believe money flows to them, who focus on creating value, who constantly see opportunities, find ways to attract, create, and multiply wealth. It is not magic. It is the law of cause and effect operating through thought. Your beliefs about money shape your financial destiny. The same applies to health, relationships, and career. Every area of your life is molded by the quality of your thoughts. When you understand this, you realize that controlling your thoughts is not just a motivational idea, it is a survival skill. If you want to rise above mediocrity, you must become the master of your inner world. Thoughts are like a steering wheel. They determine the direction your life moves in. Every thought you allow is either steering you closer to your dreams or further away from them. You cannot afford to think carelessly, because careless thoughts create careless lives. You cannot afford to entertain doubt, because doubt cripples action. You cannot afford to dwell on fear, because fear paralyzes courage. Instead, you must discipline yourself to think thoughts that align with the destiny you desire. Building an unshakable character also begins with thought. No one is born with courage, integrity, or persistence. These qualities are cultivated by repeatedly thinking thoughts that reinforce them. If you think thoughts of courage in the face of fear, eventually you become courageous. If you think thoughts of honesty when tempted to lie, eventually you become a person of integrity. If you think thoughts of persistence when everything tells you to quit, eventually you develop resilience. Every time you choose a thought aligned with your highest self, you are shaping your character. And character, in turn, shapes destiny. Let's consider an example. Imagine two people facing the same setback, such as losing a job. The first person thinks, "This always happens to me. I'll never catch a break. I'm worthless without this job." Those thoughts create feelings of despair, which lead to inaction, which leads to deeper struggle. The second person, facing the same situation, thinks, "This is a new opportunity. I now have the freedom to find something better. I am capable of creating value, and this setback will lead to a comeback." Those thoughts generate feelings of hope and motivation, leading to proactive action, which opens new doors. The same circumstance, two different destinies, all because of the difference in thought. Thoughts are also the architects of belief, and belief determines possibility. If you think small, you live small. If you think big, you expand your life. Every person you admire today, entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, leaders, started by thinking thoughts bigger than their circumstances. They dared to imagine a future greater than their present. They dared to believe in themselves when others doubted them. They dared to dream when the world told them to be realistic. Their thoughts became their compass, guiding them toward achievements that seemed impossible to others. The destiny you live will always be limited or expanded by the boundaries of your thinking. But let us be clear, it is not enough to think for one day and then return to old patterns. A single seed planted and never watered will not bear fruit. Consistency is the key. Daily thought habits build the foundation of destiny. Just as you cannot build a strong body by going to the gym once, you cannot build a strong mind by thinking positively for one day. You must train your mind daily, consistently choosing thoughts that empower, uplift, and direct you toward your vision. Meditation, affirmations, visualization, gratitude journaling. These are not rituals for the weak. They are tools for warriors who understand the battle for destiny begins in the mind. You may ask, but how do I control my thoughts when negativity keeps creeping in? The answer is not to fight negative thoughts directly, but to replace them. Nature abhors a vacuum. The best way to eliminate darkness is to turn on the light. The best way to remove a negative thought is to plant a positive one. If fear whispers, "You can't do this," you respond with, "I am capable and resourceful." If doubt says, "You're not good enough," you respond with, "I am worthy, and I am growing every day. This replacement process, practiced repeatedly, rewires your brain and strengthens the mental muscles that shape destiny. Another essential truth is that thoughts are contagious. The company you keep will influence the quality of your thoughts, and therefore the quality of your destiny. If you surround yourself with people who constantly complain, criticize, and expect failure, you will unconsciously adopt their patterns. But if you surround yourself with dreamers, doers, and visionaries, their energy will inspire you to think bigger, bolder, and braver. Guard your associations as carefully as you guard your thoughts, for they are deeply intertwined. Your destiny also depends on the vision you allow yourself to hold. A thought without vision is like a seed without soil. It cannot grow. Vision gives direction, and thoughts give power. When you hold a vision of the life you want and think consistently in alignment with that vision, you create a magnetic force that pulls you toward it. The universe responds to clarity. When you are clear about where you want to go and your thoughts are aligned with that path, opportunities begin to appear, people show up to help, and circumstances align in your favor. What others call coincidence is simply the law of attraction responding to consistent thought. But be warned, the opposite is also true. If you consistently think thoughts of failure, lack, and despair, you create a destiny that fulfills those very expectations. People often sabotage themselves not because they lack talent, but because their dominant thoughts are filled with fear and limitation. They rehearse failure in their minds so often that it becomes reality. To change your destiny, you must first change the movie playing in your mind. You must rewrite the script of your thoughts until it matches the destiny you desire. Destiny is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of choice. And that choice begins in the privacy of your own mind. No one else can choose your thoughts for you unless you let them. No one else can decide whether you think rich or poor, strong or weak, abundant or scarce. That decision is yours. And it is the most powerful decision you will ever make. Every great life is built on the foundation of great thoughts, and every wasted life is wasted first in thought. So take hold of this truth with urgency. Your thoughts are not trivial, they are sacred. They are not fleeting, they are formative. They are not invisible, they are destiny in disguise. Begin today to think the thoughts that align with the destiny you desire. See yourself as successful, strong, and worthy. Speak words that affirm abundance, courage, and resilience. Surround yourself with influences that elevate your thinking. Direct your focus to your vision daily, and let no fear, doubt, or negativity take root in your mind. The greatest power you'll ever hold is the power to choose what you think. Master your thoughts, and you master your world. Don't just dream of a better life. Think it into reality. Because when you command your mind, you command your future.